Hey guys, it's Simon with ToughTrader.com. Wanted to go through the Algo settings today and just kind of look at some of what the Algo set up um, in terms of trades and support and what the turn looked like today so we can identify it better tomorrow, right? So before I get started, just really quick, if you'll take a minute to read this disclaimer, which I have to put up, past performance is not indicative of future results. This is for educational purposes only. Please be aware trading derivatives has a significant risk to it and you can lose all your capital. That's all I can say. So again, please make sure you have a risk trading plan. Make sure you know what you're doing. Don't keep losing money. Okay, number one, to start the day, you can see that we were gapping down significantly, down 15, 20 points. We actually spotted the long right out of the gate. The problem was it came in the first 10 minutes of the day. You have to make a decision as a trader as to whether you're going to trade the first 10. I don't, or even the first 30. I find you can usually let the market settle out. So there's a cost to every decision. By skipping that long first thing in the morning, we basically missed the low. So this is how the day worked out without any zones. So if you look on the blog, which I posted, you'll see where the support resistance zones are, the before and after picture. As you can see, we press straight down out of the open. This is the biggest negative delta of the morning. We get above that. This is telling you that traders are pressing down very hard. You can see this star fires. It's not because it got over the negative delta. This is an algo trigger, but the algo triggered above that biggest negative delta and it was all over from there to the upside. But I want to go through the flow chart so you can see how the market changed. Now, the first thing this delta tells me is we're not short really unless we get underneath that level. Now, there's all kinds of ways to read the market, but in order to be down, we had to get below this point, and you can see we didn't even come back to test it, right? So we then pushed back up, and in this series of pushing up, this 2120, this bar right here, now becomes, and again, I haven't reinvented the wheel. My algo simply helps me read order flow quickly. This becomes the biggest, best positive delta on the upside. You can see when we close underneath it right here that we backside tested multiple times and you had scalps to the downside, but we could never get any extensions down and we could never test back to that 31.91. That should have told us immediately buyers are in overall control. Now, this is tricky, and I want to cover this for a second. When the market consolidates under prior day's value, I'm going to switch over to this because I cover this a lot. I'm going to erase this really quick. When we consolidate underneath prior day's value, and I said this morning, if we hold underneath 2769.50, 2770, the market has a good chance of coming down and retesting 2751. However, if we get above 2770, said this morning, then we're likely going to push back up into the point of control. Okay, so if you'll come back and look at this chart and you'll put a line at 2770, which is what I'm going to do right now. This is 2770. Here was the challenge. When we got to the end of the first hour, we had consolidated underneath that 2770, and usually that results, if you read Mind Over Markets or you subscribe to Auction Market Theory, in a substantial push to the downside. I didn't trust it in the futures. I bought my position in options. The options trade did not work out. I'm all right with that, right? That is a way of offsetting my risk by using options instead of having unlimited risk in futures. The trade didn't work. I'm cool with that. That's part of trading and no big deal. What I was frustrated with is that I could not hook up the long to the upside. So at 9:30, you can see here at 9:34, we established the high. This is the high at 9:30. This is the 2770. You can see right after 9:30, we break IB high. We break that 2770. You can see when we break it, I want you to follow the algo. So see here, 2812, 2157, 3124. So two things, 2770 and a quarter become an important number, and 3124 becomes important. If you will see, I got a short signal triggered by the algo. Now in trading, we're always going to have conflicts. I did not want to be short here because I was pressing right into 3124, and there was too great a risk that it was just simply going to reject and continue pushing higher. I want to be short underneath. If you will look, We then grind underneath and back towards that 2770. However, on this bar right here, so again, we are micromanaging a trade at this point. We're using it for scalping. We've closed underneath. Backside tests against this 3124 should now produce counter trades that will push to the downside. You can then see, you can wait for your first rejection bar, which is right here. You can use this as your entry and your stop, right? That's good for 2 to 3 points first time in. You can see we retest. They tried to break once again. You can see that on that push back up. Okay, I want to show you this because this is important. See how this triggered a long, guys, and this triggered a short? Again, this number becomes important to me because if I had taken this long against this number, I immediately get pushed back down into VWAP and back for that backside test at 2769, 2770. You see that? So for the same reason that I did not take the trade, the short trade up here, but I was willing to take it here and here, right? It's the same reason I wasn't willing to take the long here, because you've got to know where your big deltas are that are getting set up through the course of the day. Okay, push on along, and now you can see we've clearly closed back up against that 3124. Not only that, there's additional pieces of evidence. We have an inability to close below VWAP, right? And we have now attempted to break the 200 period moving average. We're above VWAP. We're now above this biggest delta. This should now provide us with support. You can see on the backside test, there's backside test 1, pushes to the upside. Backside test number 2. Again, we don't get below this guy. There's no short. And finally, at the end of the day, we just push out. Now, I did not trade that well today. I did not have the read on, and I got frustrated because I was trying to make my read off of a higher time frame, and it was a mistake on my part. That's all there is to it. I should have stuck with just looking for the biggest deltas through the course of the day and going with the algo for the buy signals and the sell signals. I thought we had every reason in the world to actually push lower and test prices lower, and we couldn't lift in overnight. I was not surprised by the initial push back up, but when we held up underneath value through the first hour, that normally results in an extension to the downside. I gave examples of that in the pre-market. And so all I can do is come back in tomorrow and improve. So what will I do tomorrow to improve? Number one, if I'm going to short, okay, so this is really important because this is how you get better the following day. So if I'm going to short, number one, I'm going to short when I'm backside testing a large delta that is setting me up, that I know that someone invested heavily in pushing up. I want to get underneath it, because if these were my only two shorts for the day right here, this short and this short, this provides me with 3 to 6 points in P&L. They pretty much were perfect short setups each time, and I could wait for the lead in each particular bar, meaning I could wait for the first negative bar so that I could control risk pretty tightly in terms of my entry, exit, stop. That's number one. Number two, I don't think I would have gotten long again given the chance tomorrow in the first 30 minutes because it's often too volatile. We're in the middle of summer, so it worked out better. I know we were deep in the hole. I really would have liked a push at least below this level from a trading standpoint, and then a trap back in, backside test above this big delta, and then a push back up. Even a test back to this delta would have emboldened me to take a long. I just couldn't get it hooked up this morning. So that part I don't mind. On the shorts, I would have waited till, again, I could have gotten underneath the last best delta for a short entry. Again, even if I had worked it over here where we had pressed against that last best entry, it's just once we got over this delta, it was all over for the shorts. That's all there was to it. I made a trading call, and that trading call did not work out. I can live with that. And then the other thing that I would have done better in the afternoon was I would have taken the long late in the day right here for a push to the upside and for new highs. Again, that wasn't a huge trade, but it was 5 points, and at that point I was quite frustrated with my day, so I didn't take it, but that is how I'll improve for tomorrow. Anyways, the important part, you stay transparent, you show where you struggled, and you show where you can improve as a trader. You don't overtrade, and you take a deep breath. I'll be doing a CL trade review here momentarily for my CL traders, and I will talk to y'all in a bit. Have a great night, guys.